Hi guys, welcome back to the channel.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, happy Valentine's Day guys. So today we're gonna be sharing with you our story of how we moved from being single to being married in 6 months.
Oh.
Every time we touch I feel at home. That's the way I'd ever let you go.
Just a disclaimer, this is not a relationship advice or marriage advice. This is just our story.
This is what worked for us.
Yes. So with that out of the way, we're gonna start. Before we start, we're just gonna share with you guys a little background about before we met, if marriage was something that we were thinking about.
Heck no.
Yeah, if we just ever thought that at some point we would get married, or if it was anytime soon, just things like that, so you guys get a little understanding of like our story. And also we have some few questions that we're gonna be answering to.
We hope some of these questions answer the curiosities you might have about us.
Yes, and also we're gonna be answering some of the questions that we couldn't answer in our previous video, which was the Q&A. So we didn't answer those questions because we were planning to make this video. Okay, so babe, you're gonna go first. Share about like before we met, if marriage was something you ever thought about. Did you see yourself married?
Marriage usually takes a long time to come up with the idea for. A long time.
What,
like,
you mean in my culture?
No, in our culture, like, you'll have people who are dating for like 5 years before they even consider talking about getting married, and some people even longer. I could say personally, like, before I met you, I was like on the borderline of giving up on relationships, because and I'm not trying to throw anyone in my past under the bus, because I wasn't perfect, but things just weren't right at the time, and I did not take relationships seriously. I didn't see someone coming in my life for me to try and be better for, because I feel like the moment we met, it was time for me to put my big boy pants on and grow up.
Yeah.
Because before you, it was a mess.
So you never seen yourself married before?
At least I didn't. No, I didn't. It was a conversation in the past before, but not like, it wasn't a serious one. Yeah. It wasn't, oh, I'm gonna go out and buy a ring for this person. Hell no.
So is it because of your past relationships?
Yeah, because the problem with me is if you're not consistent, then if something in my head cracks, and then I just can no longer take that relationship serious. And I never met someone who was consistent with me from the beginning, and then progressively wanted to see things get better for us. It was always one-sided, and no, I didn't believe that I was gonna get married before.
So what about before starting dating? Like, as a little boy, did you see yourself ever getting married? Did you imagine yourself having your own family?
I would say yes, because my parents weren't married.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to throw my dad under the bus, but he's been married before. That wasn't to my mom, and so I knew, like, it's hard to explain. The image was there, but to me, the only people who were married were like grandparents.
Yeah. Not
like my aunt, my uncle. Well, one of my aunts got married, but I guess you can say I didn't have like a great role model for what a marriage looks like. So to me, that was.
So you never thought about it even as a little boy?
No, nope. Even what's funny is when I was 4, I was my grandmother's ring boy for one of her weddings. But yeah, no.
It's never something.
No.
I feel like we kind of have almost the same or like similar background, because even me as a little girl, I never thought I would ever get married, and it wasn't something that I was looking forward to. I just never was that little girl. Like
when they were playing house?
Yeah, I was never that
That's
girl.
so stupid.
Yeah. So
He teaches kids that, dude. That was a legit thing.
Yeah. So I was never that girl, and also I never seen those kind of marriages that made me feel like I wanna get married someday. I just never thought about that.
Yeah, because someone asked in the comments in one of the other videos about Leon, about like, oh, is he our biological son.
Yeah.
No, I had Leon before I met her, my wife, and I respect her level for that, because she treats Leon like her son, and there's no blurred vision like, oh, you know, the kid, or nothing disrespectful on my wife's end at all.
Yeah.
The fact that, like, because I had a kid with someone else, even that didn't make me feel like, oh, I'm gonna marry this. Oh no, absolutely not. That was never even a thought in that relationship. I was basically a kid, having a kid, and I was trying to do the right thing by keeping a family, but things didn't work out, and like marriage was never a thought.
Yeah.
There. It was to be responsible for Leon, because there's no other option. Leon was there.
Yeah.
The act of having a kid happened, and all I could do is step up and own it on my end.
Another thing also, I feel like besides that, I didn't see any role models. I feel like the marriages that I grew up around, they are also the main reason that made me not wanting to get married, or like not seeing myself married in future. This is what I know. I thought like this is how marriage is supposed to be, so I just never wanted that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, because the marriages around you weren't the one that made you feel like, oh, I want that. It was more of like, I know I will never be like this if I am married. But because it's so toxic, or, you know, it doesn't look good to you at the time, you don't want to even indulge in that. I get it.
Yeah. So since now you guys know that we both never thought we would ever get married, so we're gonna jump into then what happened. What changed that?
I think this is going to be really hard to put into words. I'm just thinking about this.
I know. It's not going to make sense, but to us, it makes sense. Because I know.
It made sense the moment I met you, and I said this in one of our first videos, where we hugged, and there was this really awkward length to our first hug when we first met, that when I physically touched you, something in me just clicked, and I was like, oh wow, that was nice. And then I think it was like a week into like meeting you, I made a joke, but I was being serious. Like, it was a double-sided statement where it was supposed to be a joke, but like a piece of me knew, like, I'm gonna marry you. I made a joke, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get married. It was like not even 7 days of me knowing you.
Yeah,
I was like, we're gonna get married one day.
I think we were meeting for like second time. It was our second date. We're just gonna go through these questions, guys, so you guys get to better understand, because if we just talk and talk, we're just gonna be all over. We're gonna be all over the place, so this is just gonna help us. So if you guys don't know our story, we did share a story of how we met, so I'll link that story in the description below. So we met in January of 2019, and we got engaged in June of the same year, and we got married same year in August 7th. So we got married 6 months after.
That's crazy. When you're talking about it, it sounds wrong, but when we were living through that, everything was just like, this is our life, this is how it's gonna go.
It was just normal to us. So the first question is, why did we get married soon?
Honest to God, to me it wasn't too soon. That's just when I felt like we were ready.
Yeah, same thing as me. I mean, we got married after 6 months of knowing each other, but it felt like we have known each other for a very long time.
Yeah, because the first day that we met each other, I think we were speaking till like 2 in the morning or some crazy thing. Mind you, I had to wake up for work, I think.
Yeah.
It was like 5:30 at the time, and this is, I don't know what the heck I was doing. But I was up late talking to you, but it was because it felt so natural to be around you already.
Yeah.
From the moment we met.
It just felt so natural, and it felt like we've known each other for a very long time. Unlike in the past, I was with somebody for 4 years, and that 4 years, it just felt like nothing. So to me, to say we got married soon, and to think that like I've known somebody for 4 years, but I felt like I didn't know the person, so that's why it makes me feel like 6 months is not soon. It depends on the connection you have with someone, and also how do you feel about the person.
The crazy part about that is that I felt the opposite with not that I didn't feel. So I had a couple serious relationships before you.
Yeah.
If you want to consider like from after high school, because I had Leon when I was 17 going on 18. That kind of crumbled, and then I went into a couple other relationships before I met you. But I felt like I knew the people, but there was something that wasn't there that I would hold on to them even when they would do something completely bad and anyone else would have let them go for it. I would hold on thinking like, wait, I didn't find the reason to like to stay with them yet, so let me stick around. That was my problem.
Yeah, it makes sense. So another question is that so now we've been married for almost 2 years now. Do you regret getting married after 6 months of us knowing each other?
No.
And also, do you wish like you could have waited a little longer to get married?
No, to me everything happened when it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I never even second guessed that. I still don't.
I feel like us getting married after 6 months, it's also what makes our marriage so special to us. Because I feel like maybe if we waited longer, it wouldn't feel the same. So for us, this is just our story that makes it also special. I don't regret it. If we had to start over and do it again, I would say, okay, 6 months is fine. Yeah. So when you got married, were you ready at the time?
I have a good answer for that. To me, there's no such thing as being ready.
Yeah.
And even with kids, like there's a lot of people out there that they'll say, oh, I want to be ready to have a kid. Like that is complete BS. Like you will rearrange your life as those different steps come in front of you. And to me, I was as ready as I would have ever been.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, the only other thing that someone would wish is like, oh, I wish I had way more money or resources to put into certain things. But we have the rest of our life to not redo, but celebrate our marriage bigger and how we, in more detail of how we want it. That I don't regret anything.
That's true. If you want to be committed to someone, you will rearrange your life to make it happen. And if you don't want to,
I did.
So you won't be ready.
Before I met you, I was just doing the most.
Yeah. Same thing as me, because I didn't care. At the time, I wasn't even looking for a relationship. So I just didn't care.
I wasn't either. I think I mentioned this in one of the old videos too, where my best friend was pulling me to meet you, and I'm like, I don't want to meet anybody. It's not gonna work out. Like I had no faith in the beginning at all. I was like, I'm tired of meeting people and then they're going nowhere.
So another question. So how did we know we're the one for each other?
I can't put that into words. We kind of already did, where I just felt like everything was just right when it came to being around you. From the moment I met you, the first hug, the first conversation, just everything. You know what else was another like signal for me that I knew that like you were the one? Was that the question?
Yeah. Like how did we know?
I wanted to change things about myself that would have been toxic in another relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just give one example, like talking to other people in other relationships. If I was just starting to get to know someone, I wouldn't cut off other people in the beginning because there's no concrete evidence to me yet that anything between us is going to be serious. But from the moment I met you, there's a whole lot of sad conversations after that.
I also can't really explain like how I knew, but it just felt so right. I knew that he was the one. And it brings me back to the conversation that I used to have with my friends. Because before meeting you, I never thought that I would ever get married, especially so like soon. Purposely, I wasn't just looking for a relationship. I was avoiding talking to anybody because at the time.
Kind of me in the beginning too.
So when your friend told me about you, I didn't want to entertain it because I knew that I wasn't looking for any relationship. But a part of me knew because of the dream that I remember, the dream that I told you about, and we shared that dream on our story of how we met. So that was also kind of like a confirmation to me that okay, this person is the one. Because I don't want to offend anybody, but before meeting him, I had never been approached by any like different race for relationship interest. Even though nobody ever approached me, I just knew that if I was meeting somebody and that person was gonna be my husband, that person wasn't gonna be a black man. I don't want to see any comments saying, oh, you don't like your own race or anything like that, because in the past I was only with black men. But I just knew that my husband was gonna be a black man. Because I used to tell my friends that if somebody was trying to talk to me, I would tell my friends that like it doesn't make sense to talk to this person because this person is not mine. And they used to ask me why, and I used to tell them that like my person is gonna be a different race. And I don't like, even looking back, I just don't know why I thought like that. And I don't know, but I just knew.
To talk about that, I have a piece of this to add on my end. Like when she doesn't feel like she doesn't want something, she will just completely dead it. So yeah. That's one thing. And then the second thing was part of the reason why I doubted anything would come out of us was because that you were a black woman. And the reason being, I don't care. To me, I can see past someone's skin color. It's how you treat someone else and the connection that you can build.
Yeah.
I don't see her skin color, but here where I grew up, people will look at me, and mind you, I'm not white, but they'll look at my skin and say, oh, you're too white, I don't want to date you.
Yeah.
Especially black girls. I've been interested in black girls before, but they wouldn't even take that conversation. Yeah.
That's crazy, because I also never been with a different race, but I just knew that the person that I was going to meet and the person that was going to be for me was going to be a different race. And even your friend, and when I met him and he was just asking me, so are you not dating, why, and like things like that. Yeah, I also told him the same reason that like
we have a culture here of like, especially if someone's a good looking person, like what is so messed up about you that you feel like you don't want to date?
Yeah,
that's what that was.
Oh,
not to mention it's my best friend, it's like my brother, so he's gonna try and pull the best scenario for me, and if he felt like you were a good catch, he's gonna be like, yo, come on, like
he did. Yeah, so I also told him the same reason, because he used to think I'm into white guys, but I never.
It's because you listen to country music.
Finally meeting him, it was like a confirmation to me that okay, this person is the one. And also with my dream that I had, you were kind of like blurry. I saw your skin color, and that was also a confirmation that.
That's a whole other conversation. I think you have a gift that you don't even realize.
Yeah. Guys, I can see things before they happen. Like I would see signs and I would talk about it and then it would happen.
I think she legitimately gets divine signs. Legitimately.
So let's move on to another question is how did our families feel about us getting married so soon?
You can start first because I think mine are kind of funny.
Yeah. My family, okay, when I first told my mom and dad, they were okay about it. And I had the conversation with my dad, like, I'm not sure if it was before we got engaged or after. I was just asking him, like, why he was okay with it, like, what did he think about it? Like, because he was just okay, didn't show any... You know, like if you're telling a parent something you would expect to shock them and they just say okay, it kind of worries you, like okay, why? So we were just having that conversation and he was like, I just knew, and you've always been different. When you told me, it just didn't shock me. So to him, it was just something he was expecting from me. Yeah, so my mom and dad was okay with it, but it was a different part when it's come to my grandparents because they're old and they're not used to it. So it was kind of like a hard situation, but it didn't take long for us to get to an understanding. It wasn't also more about his skin color, it was just about different cultures. They were worried more about our different cultures, that okay, how were we gonna do things and how we're gonna coming to a same understanding of how as African do things, and also trying to accommodate his culture too. So it was kind of like they were just scared, I think. And yeah,
they're just lucky I'm a respectful person, because I'm not gonna lie, there are not a lot of people on our end in America who would just completely respect someone's culture 100%.
that is true. That is true. So that's why they were worried, because they just didn't know what kind of person he is, and so they were just worried if he was gonna be willing to do those things, and you know, things like that. As like the old generations, it was hard for them to understand and accept that. But after we talked about it for a while, and they kind of come to like understand that, okay, now it's a different time, things are different, so they just have to accept it.
No one can force someone else's feelings. If my mom and my dad came to me and said, no, what do you mean you're dating someone from Africa? As an adult, I don't, like, respect to my parents, I love them both, but like, I wouldn't give a damn what they had to say about that, because at the end of the day I knew I loved you, and that's where my heart was. So that's how I look at that. To me, I never even had any worries about that. But I was shocked on my end about how that conversation was received.
You mean my grandparents?
No. Like, when I told my mom,
Oh.
and my dad, like, we were dating, and then like shortly after, like, hey, I'm gonna propose to her.
What did they say?
So my mom, sorry mom, I love you. We were in the grocery store once, and I think this was like November or December. I was saying like, hey, there's someone that I'm interested in meeting.
Yeah, it was around that time, because that's
and
when
she said it in Spanish. She was like, una africana, like, and you're gonna date an African? And I was like, yeah, so what? Like, she wasn't like any certain way about it, but that was a shock to her.
It was a shock.
She first of all, I never even dated a black girl in America, and then I'm dating one from the motherland. I guess I threw her off. And then my dad, he was like, oh, I'm all for it, like, I've always been an out of the box kind of person. Like, I don't mold to what everyone else, like, and the perfect example of that is like my nerdy nature, my lack of like artistic ability when I was young. I hated sports, and then my dad, on the other hand, always into sports, wanted me to play basketball, football. My mom was artistic, and she was pushing me into things too, and I was like, nah. It was a surprise because I had never brought that to the table, but my dad wasn't surprised because I don't stick to what everyone else, like, not just culture, just like as a man in general, I don't stick to the same things everyone else is doing around me.
Yeah. So how did they feel when you were telling them that, okay, I understand that was when you were telling them that you were meeting me, talking to me. How did they feel about you getting married after 6 months of meeting someone?
My dad gave me his blessing like almost immediately. The only thing he said was to make sure like this is what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I was stern about it, and that conversation was just smooth and casual. My mom was the one that I was so scared to tell, because usually, and this is not to throw her under the bus or anything, but my mom has this ability to tell when people are just like pieces of crap.
Yeah.
And you hadn't had a lot of like visitation like directly with her before, you know. There was not a lot of like you getting to see and be around her, but she saw you enough, and she never ever said anything bad about you. To me, it was a shock, because if I was dating someone in the past, by then she had something to say, and with you she didn't. And I was scared because she was resting after work on the couch, and I came to her house and I sat down, and I was like, hey Ma, like, I have to tell you, this is after I bought the ring already. I bought the ring, I was already gonna do it, but it was, how was I gonna break it down to Mom for her to understand? Because I already know she was like, probably gonna be like, oh, you know, you just met this girl, what do you mean you're gonna propose to her? I can't explain it to you, this is what I wanted to do. She didn't freak out, nothing. She sat up, we talked, I think she gave me a hug, and then I went home. That was it.
Yeah. Of which is understandable, like, especially for parents, because they used to the way they used to do things in the past and how things are done now, it's different. So it's kind of scary when somebody tells you that, oh, I just met this girl and after 6 months we're getting married. It is kind of scary. So even if they were mad, it was understandable. So before getting married, what was the important thing when finding a partner to you?
Consistency. Don't show me you're a nice person in the beginning and then we get married and then you're a monster, because I think that was my biggest fear about getting married. Is I hope to God that the graceful woman, respectful woman you showed me before we got married was the person who I get to spend my life with.
Same thing as me too. It was that fear. And also, what are other questions that people would want to know?
There's a lot of Lobola questions. You guys gotta keep watching for that.
Oh yeah, more like other questions are about Lobola. So we're not gonna answer the Lobola yet, but keep watching, guys, because we're gonna take you guys through this journey with us and you're gonna get to understand.
Keep in mind I said I respect your culture, so just wait.
Yeah, so that's our story of how we moved from single.
It's still unfolding. Like one thing I don't want people to get the misconception of is like, oh, they look so cute and happy in the video. Like that's just a very small piece of our life. We're not perfect and it's not 100% happiness like
all the time.
You know, all the time.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I just wanna I'm kidding.
I mean, not like literally, but that's true, guys. Because some people, I don't want you guys to see us here posting 10-minute video, 15-minute video and think that we are perfect. No, we're not. We're just a normal couple and we go through some challenges of life, because marriage is a journey. So sometimes it's
quite literally the rest of our life if, you know, everything goes the way I think the most important thing is to never lose focus on each other. If we keep, you know, building our life around just us, then I think the marriage is going to be successful.
Yeah, so guys, this is why I was saying this is not a relationship advice, because we're not perfect. We're also still trying to figure out. But one thing that we focus on is that, like, okay, we chose each other. We wanted to be committed to each other, so that's our main focus. It's not every day our relationship is like honeymoon and stuff. That's just to show you guys that we human, we have honeymoon phases. You're gonna love each other in good or bad. I'm not saying though stay in unhealthy marriage, guys. Here we are in our little story and we hope you guys enjoyed it. And tell us what more do you want to know about us, guys. We hope you enjoyed this video. We will see you in the next one, and if you have any question, please leave them in the comment section and we will answer those questions, or we will make another video answering those questions. And happy Valentine's, guys, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.